Hello, friends. This is John Klein III with episode 223 of Shadow and Flame of Magic, the premier podcast for Kitty Pryde, Lockheed, and Magic. And today we're going to deep dive into All New Doop issue 2. And then spoil the heck out of X-Men Volume 7, 28, Deadpool April Fool's Day 1, Logan Black White and Blood 4 quickly, Marvel Rivals Duel of Kings very quickly, Captain Marvel Dark Pass, and Daredevil Volume 9 1. Um, but before that, we saw the Mario movie while taking our spring break in Missoula, a sister city here, and they have a great comic book shop in Muse Comics. And it turns out in the mall they have a entertainment mart or Entertain Mart that has a slew of pop Funkos and boxes of comic books. And so I took a big dent out of my Kitty Pryde Gold era, and that felt pretty great. Um, but the Mario Galaxy movie, I don't know, I really liked it. We sure want to watch it again just to get a proper feel for it. But in my opinion, it's already better in the second movie or the first movie with the inclusion of Rosalina and um, none of that Brooklyn nonsense that origin movies seem to always suffer from being like, well, once you watch it the first time, you can just skip, 30 or 45 minutes. Also, I didn't care for that dog sequence in the first movie. And so that dog shows up for like you can point to him and be like, oh yeah, I know that guy. So yeah. Oh, and you definitely want to stay through the credits as one of my favorite characters shows up, and it's well worth the credits. I want to say the credits went by fast too. We saw it in IMAX, and the theater played the first couple seconds of Project Hail Mary. So we're not sure if that was part of a prank or if just someone screwed up the things, but it was April 1st, so easily could have been a prank. Um, So I don't know if we missed out on trailers, but we got to see the Spider-Man brand new trailer. Um, the brand new Spider-Man brand new day trailer. And on the glorious IMAX screen, I was like, well, this is how you should see it. I would have sworn there was a scene when you would buy one of those water towers and you saw all eight arms, and I need to double check that to see if that's in the regular TV cut too. But I could have sworn I saw some fleshy arms there. Um, So yeah, so All New Dupe number 2. Um, this came out in July 2014. Over the weekend, I'm going to be posting on my YouTube and TikTok channels, JackalsIII, and the podcast is Instagram, S&FwM, and I'm trying to be more just sharing everything on that platform as well. And this is brought to us by Peter Milligan, the writer, David LaFontaine, the artist, Laura Aldred, color artist, VC's Clayton Cowles is the letterer, and cover artist is Michael and Laura Aldred. Uh, Devin Lewis, assistant editor, Mike Lowe's the editor, Axel Alonso's editor-in-chief, Joe Quesada is chief creative officer, who was very bold the other day on Instagram, was like, hey, tell me a character I ruined. And I was like, oof, he's just gonna get nothing but Spider-Man comments. But some people comment on other things, but it was mostly Spider-Man. Dan Buckley, publisher. In fact, One More Day is pretty much what got me to stop reading Spider-Man. And then I just went exclusively to X-Men comics, which my wallet very appreciated. And I tried to dip in with the Superior Spider-Man and pretty much jumped right back off. But I was like, well, this is at least better. Um, Dan Buckley, publisher, and Alan Fine, executive producer. There's a green potato looking thing that lives with the X-Men. Dupe. Previously. After confessing his undying love to Kitty Pryde, Dupe learned how to speak English. And that pretty much was last issue. And so then we see Dupe trying to put on the engagement ring on Kitty, because of course she's going to say yes, except she says no. There'd be no honeymoon because I could never marry you. And then that breaks his heart, so he goes back into the margins and she dives in after him. And then this issue takes place during X-Men Volume 4 5, Battle of the Atom Part 3, as we get this great double page splash of just her getting started, seeing what she's missing out on the crossover. Jubilee's there with Shogo, um, the vampire lady, the older Xavier. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, this place in between the margins, Dupe calls it the marginalia. Xavier Jr. is here. Emma's here. Future Kate Pryde, or is it? Future Deadpool. Future Molly Haynes from Runaway Storms here. Scott and Jean are motorcycling away. The teen ones, of course. Bobby finds the engagement ring and is like, "What's this about?" And then he takes her to a movie theater and shows her a future of them dancing at their wedding, which seems nice. And then he takes her to a shooting range that we get from the cover. Then we see Rachel talking to Kitty as she's watching it, so it's very space ballsy. Yeah. And Duke's telling her she must find the courage to be irrational, which is going to pay off splendidly in the event. And then we get a great homage to Uncanny X-Men 168 with Kitty Pryde's classic Professor Xavier's a jerk stance. Enough with the listening. You are taking me right back. The two Icemen, or actually the three Icemens, are talking about the engagement ring. Team Jean, if she never goes back, grows into Zorn and giving some plot. And then Kitty turns her attention to Duke, but he's gone already. And Rachel calls her K, which I don't think is a nickname that took off. Even Professor P didn't take off. And I think everyone's just defaulted to calling her Professor Kitty. Scott and Jean steal some clothes, teen Scott and Jean, and then Scott tries his best not to turn around, as he shouldn't, as he didn't get consent for that. Um, Kitty in the Marginia, the Margolagina, is telling Duke that they shouldn't be looking either, which is funny. Rachel talking to Kitty, which is a great moment in Battle of the Atom too, where they just take time to, have a little meal together. And then Dupe is working on dubbing Kitty's voice for some reason. What's that about? And then back in the real world, Rachel speeding off with Kitty in their flying car, coincidentally next to an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. had. Coincidence? Probably. Uh, Wolverine has 3 months before he dies, which is hard to believe that this happens around the same era. And then as they're flying, giant Iceman from the future tackles them, or at least an ice drone. And then Duke goes through the margins and finds Kate Pryde, just as she's confront her younger self and Kitty. And then we get Magic again. Pretty great seeing her here. And it turns out all new Days of Future Past Kate Pryde is actually Roz. Or Raze? It's Raze. So Raze. And he's the son of Mystique and Wolverine, compared to his younger brother by a year, uh, Mystique and Xavier's son, Charles Jr., or Charles Xavier Jr. And unfortunately for Dupe, who figured it out too late and gets a little stab in the gut. But don't worry, bro, it's not that deep. And Dupe ends the issue saying there's a chance this could get a little confusing. Then Spider-Man Amazing 2 out on your consoles. And then the Wrecking Crew and Harley Davidson had back ads. So as anyone who knows comic books, you read this back of this and go like, you know what? Time to get Harley Davidson. I never understood car ads in a comic book, but sure. Imagine they pay very well. But to pay for a creative team and everything, like, all right. So everyone, All New Doop number two is great. I love it so much. Now let's get to X-Men Volume 728, Danger Room Part 3. The airspace near Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Danger's Room goons shoot down the Marauder with Psylocke and Zorn aboard. Danger Room, Danger's updated that there are no survivors, which seems super silly not to actually triple check. The Faculty in Morrow, Alaska. Quentin Quire wants blood from whoever shot Glob Herman. Magneto is telling him to calm down, and I like Quentin's retort of, "You need to get angry." Oh yeah, also wants to get revenge as the two of them head out. I do like the reference to how like they were all outcasts, Quire, Oya, and Glob Herman, which is a reference more to, well, of course, to the Wolverine the X-Men era that I love, as opposed to Morrison's new X-Men where Oya wasn't on. Um, the Danger Room. Danger is annoyed that she hasn't heard of any destruction in Morrow yet, but Colton assures her it is coming. The Spirit of St. Augustine, currently a living biomechanical monster. And you can follow along on Monday when I post my review of this comic on Shadow and Flame with Magic.com. More organic plugs within the show, right? Um, we get such a cool team shot. I love so much magic casting spells. I also love so much what such besties Magic and Juggernaut are. Juggernaut stopped by the wires of the ship and brought underneath them, and Ileana immediately dives in after him. Cyclops tries to get her to focus, but now the wires have her. Then Scott also gets tangled up. Danger's excited about how they can monopolize the technology now. Quire and Oya have made it tomorrow, so stuff is going to happen next issue. 70s Beast and Sheriff Robbins are trying to figure out what the ship is made out of, and Hank can only think of one way to figure it out, dive into its center. I guess she's maybe safer with him than being tangled up on her own. Seems like a conversation he could have at least had with her. Agent Jackson wants to kill Grey Crow, and Danger tells her that she can do that. Jackson gets confirmation that Grey Crow's dead, which I feel like even if he's in a bed, he'll put up more of a fight than that. But it turns out Cannon has gotten to him and has taken out all the Goon Squad. So next issue, the X-Men start fighting back, which is always the exciting part of these types of stories. Brr, 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 brr. Deadpool's April Fool Day 1. This really felt like a sequel to the last X-Babies miniseries where we got a slew of Star Comics appearances. Terry from Planet Terry wants to usher in a new age of forgotten genres, and Deadpool needs to tell people. But since it's April Fool's Day, no one believes him, except for the ever-loving Blue Eye Thing. And then everyone believes him. We get some fun mutant appearances by Outlaw, Cyclops, Psylocke, Cable, who one would think would believe Wade, Storm, and Rogue. Odd Gail Simone didn't use more of her uncanny X-Men and Outliers, but maybe people would have criticized her for that. How would I love to have seen them? A little silly Deadpool comic without too much violence, which is how I prefer him. Logan Black White and Blood 4, three more stories, all with Logan slaying goons. Mystique showed up in the middle story, so I like that one. Marvel Rivals Duel of Kings 1, a slew of pages of Black Panther and Namor fighting, no magic appearances. Captain Marvel Dark Past 1, Rogue did appear as a memory montage. I always like Jessica Drew teaming up with Carol. Some snipers about to take a shot at Carol at the end. And then Daredevil Volume 9 1, great launch by Stephanie Phillips, such in time for the second season, which has been very good. So, yeah, was nothing crazy this week. Plus we were in Missoula, so I was just like, well, we'll see what happens. So next week's comics, we get Moonstar 2. I'm super excited about Uncanny X-Men Volume 626, which has someone wearing the New Mutants classic trainee uniform. I'm suspecting it's Mutina, but maybe it's someone else. Uncanny X-Men Annual 1, which is awkward as X-Men had an annual that was all about Jean Grey hanging out with the Uncanny X-Men. So now this is essentially the second Uncanny X-Men annual, but it's Wolverine Volume 818 that has Silver Sable still in it, so I'm still on board. Iron Man 4 with that sweet Carmen Carnero and Nolan Woodard colorist combo art team that I love so much. Psylocke Ninja 4, which seems to be Betsy and Cannon's body with Elektra just doing what gals do. And the N2995 that I suspect is the final issue because I don't. uh, Are people loving this series? Top 10 X-Men comics are X-Men United 1, Magic and Clashes 2, Moonstar 1 at 3, Avengers Volume 934 of Kitty Pryde at number 5, Generation X 23 1 of Age of Apocalypse Shadowcat. For some reason, we still don't know. Volume at 6, Sorcerer Supreme 3. I love that issue. 4, Wolverine Volume 817. 8, X-Men Volume 728. So we got an update. And 9, Uncanny X-Men Volume 625. And Cyclops Volume 4-2. Edge out the series, the top 10 list. So we'll see what we keep getting. And everyone, thank you so much for listening or watching if you're one of our YouTube friends. I posted some videos of the Marvel Maximum collection and seems to be still getting a lot of subscribers based off those videos. So thank you so much for everyone who's a new subscriber and feel free to subscribe and watch this and tell your friends, please. And you can follow me on socials, at almost all the socials at JackalsIII, and the podcast is socials at S&FwM, the and spelt out. I'm definitely using Instagram more. And if you're a Reddit tier, which is the name I think Redditors should be calling, the Daily Lockheed is getting closer and closer to 500 subscribers, and it just makes my heart grow every time I see that number going up a little bit more, but also people liking each post. Like, if there is anything I know how to do, website, podcasts, social media accounts, is create a very loyal group of people. It'd be nice if we can get those numbers in the double digits, but that day will come, right, everyone? I'm kidding. We need double digits. But imagine triple digits. That's the dream, right, everyone? Sometimes it feels like we're talking in the void, but I do appreciate everyone who reaches out and goes like, "Hey, we're listening." And I'm like, "Hey, thanks for listening. I appreciate that so much. It makes my heart grow." And like, yeah, we heard it. I'm like, "Oh, you did." So thank you everyone for listening. And I had an idea for a sign off, and now I just blinked on it. It was like if you have a shadow of the doubt, ignite the flame and make like magic and get out of limbo and then I started didn't have a direction, and then listen to the podcast. But you're already listening to the podcast. But and follow me on all the socials. I'll work on this. I appreciate your patience and your time. All right, friends. I will talk to you next time. Bye.